Chapter 1, The Last Transmission. The flickering holographic display cast an eerie glow across the command center of the Odyssey, humanity's last hope for survival. Captain Lena Sorensen's eyes narrowed as she deciphered the garbled message from Earth. Static filled the air, punctuated by the urgent voice of Admiral Novak. Captain Sorensen, critical, Exodus protocol, initiate immediately. Lena leaned forward, her heart pounding. Admiral, repeat your last transmission. What's happening on Earth? Silence. Then a burst of static. Earth is lost. Xenos. Overwhelming force. You're our last chance. The transmission cut out abruptly, leaving a deafening silence in its wake. Lena stood motionless, her mind reeling. Earth, the cradle of humanity, had fallen to the Xenos, a ruthless alien race bent on eradicating all human life. Captain? The voice of her first officer, Marcus Reeves, snapped her back to reality. What are your orders? Lena turned to face her crew, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. She knew the weight of her next words would shape the course of human history. We are the last of humanity, she said, her voice steady. Earth is gone, but we carry on its legacy. We will find a new home, a place to rebuild and start anew. She looked around the command center, taking in the faces of her crew. They were the best of the best, hand-picked for this mission. Initiate the Exodus protocol. Set a course for the Kepler 452 system. It's time to begin our journey. As the crew sprang into action, Lena couldn't shake the feeling of dread that settled in the pit of her stomach. The Odyssey was humanity's final hope, a state-of-the-art colony ship carrying 50,000 souls in cryogenic stasis. They had left Earth years ago, seeking a new world to call home. But now, with Earth gone and the Xenos in pursuit, their mission had taken on a new level of urgency. They were no longer just explorers. They were the guardians of the human race. Lena gazed out the viewport at the vast expanse of space before her. Somewhere out there, a new home awaited them. But the path ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. As the Odyssey propelled itself into the unknown, Lena silently vowed to protect her crew and the precious cargo they carried. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and she would stop at nothing to ensure their survival. The stars blurred as the ship accelerated, leaving behind the echoes of Earth and the life they once knew. A new chapter in human history had begun, and the Odyssey was its last hope. Chapter 2. Into the Void. The Odyssey hurtled through the darkness of space, its engines propelling the ship towards an uncertain future. Captain Lena Sorensen stood on the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the stars streaking past the viewport. The weight of her responsibilities pressed down on her, a constant reminder of the lives entrusted to her care. Behind her, the door hissed open, and Marcus Reeves stepped onto the deck. Captain, you should get some rest. It's been a long day. Lena turned to face him, a wry smile tugging at her lips. Rest? How can I rest when the fate of humanity hangs in the balance? Marcus placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We're all in this together, Lena. You don't have to carry this burden alone. She nodded, grateful for his support. I know, Marcus, but every decision I make could mean the difference between life and death for our people. As they stood in silence, the ship's AI, AIDA, interrupted their thoughts. Captain Sorensen, we have an incoming transmission from the cryogenic bay. Lena frowned. Put it through, AIDA. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the face of Dr. Ilara Voss, the chief medical officer. Captain, we have a situation down here. One of the cryogenic pods is malfunctioning. Lena's heart skipped a beat. Is the occupant in danger? Dr. Voss hesitated. Not yet, but if we don't fix the issue soon, we could lose them. I'm on my way. Lena turned to Marcus. You have the bridge. Keep an eye out for any signs of the Xenos. We can't afford to let our guard down. As Lena raced through the corridors of the Odyssey, her mind raced with possibilities. A malfunctioning cryogenic pod was the last thing they needed, especially with the Xenos hot on their heels. She burst into the cryogenic bay, where Dr. Voss and her team were already working on the faulty pod. The air was thick with tension as they tried to stabilize the occupants' vital signs. "What's the status, Doctor?" Lena asked, her voice tight. Dr. Voss looked up, her brow furrowed. "We're doing everything we can, Captain, but this pod is one of the older models. Its systems are more prone to failure." Lena's gaze fell on the occupant of the pod, a young woman with fiery red hair. She recognized her as AIDA Saunders, a brilliant engineer who had been instrumental in designing the Odyssey's advanced propulsion systems. "We can't lose her," Lena said, her voice firm. "Aria's expertise could be crucial to our survival." As the medical team worked tirelessly to repair the pod, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of their troubles. The Odyssey was venturing into uncharted territory, and the challenges they faced would only grow more daunting. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently, throwing Lena off balance. Alarms blared throughout the cryogenic bay as the lights flickered ominously. "Captain!" Marcus's voice crackled over the intercom. "We've got incoming! It's the Xenos!" Lena's blood ran cold. The Xenos had found them, and now the battle for humanity's survival had truly begun. She steeled herself, knowing that the decision she made in the coming moments would echo through the annals of history. The Odyssey, carrying the last remnants of Earth, plunged deeper into the void, its crew ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the face of overwhelming odds, they would fight, they would endure, and they would find a way to build a new future for humanity among the stars. Chapter 3. The battle begins. The Odyssey shook as the Xenos' weapons impacted its shields, sending tremors through the ship's hull. Captain Lena Sorensen gripped the edge of the cryogenic pod, her knuckles turning white as she fought to maintain her balance. The medical team, led by Dr. Alara Voss, worked frantically to stabilize AIDA Saunders' condition. "Captain, you're needed on the bridge." Marcus Reeves's voice echoed through the intercom, urgency lacing his words. Lena turned to Dr. Voss, her eyes seeking reassurance. "Keep me updated on Aria's status. Do whatever it takes to save her." Dr. Voss nodded, her focus unwavering as she tended to the malfunctioning pod. "I'll do my best, Captain. Now go. The ship needs you." With a final glance at Aria's unconscious form, Lena raced out of the cryogenic bay, her heart pounding in her chest. As she navigated the corridors of the Odyssey, the ship continued to shudder under the relentless assault of the Xenos. Bursting onto the bridge, Lena was greeted by a scene of controlled chaos. The crew worked with precision and determination, their faces etched with concentration as they fought to keep the ship intact. "Status report," Lena barked, taking her place at the command console. Marcus turned to face her, his brow furrowed. "Shields are holding for now, but the Xenos are hitting us hard. We can't take much more of this." Lena's mind raced, searching for a solution. The Odyssey was a colony ship, not a warship, and they were vastly outgunned by the Xenos' advanced technology. But she refused to let humanity's last hope be extinguished without a fight. "Divert all available power to the shields," Lena ordered, her voice steady despite the tremors that shook the ship. "And prepare the ion cannons. We may not have the firepower to destroy them, but we can at least give them something to think about." The crew sprang into action, their fingers flying across consoles as they carried out Lena's commands. The Odyssey's shields flared brightly as they absorbed the Xenos' relentless barrage, while the ion cannons powered up, ready to strike back. "Ion cannons ready, Captain," Marcus reported, his eyes locked on the tactical display. Lena's gaze hardened. Fire at will! The Odyssey's ion cannons erupted, sending searing beams of energy towards the Xenos' ships. The enemy vessels veered and dodged, their shields flaring as they absorbed the impact. But even as the Odyssey fought back, Lena knew they couldn't keep this up forever. Captain, we have a problem. AIDA, the ship's AI, interjected. The cryogenic bay has been compromised. The malfunctioning pod has triggered a cascade failure in the life support systems. Lena's heart sank. If they lost the cryogenic bay, they would lose the majority of the human survivors. She couldn't let that happen. Marcus, take the helm, Lena ordered, already moving towards the exit. Keep those Xenos off our backs. I'm going to the cryogenic bay. Marcus nodded, his face set with determination. Aye, Captain. Give 'em hell. As Lena raced through the ship once more, the weight of her responsibilities bore down on her. The lives of every soul aboard the Odyssey rested on her shoulders, and she would not let them down. She would fight, she would lead, and she would find a way to ensure humanity's survival, no matter the cost. The battle for the future had begun, and Captain Lena Sorensen was ready to meet it head-on. In the face of overwhelming odds, she would prove that the human spirit was unbreakable, and that even in the darkest of times, hope could still shine through. Chapter 4. The Price of Survival. As Captain Lena Sorensen raced through the corridors of the Odyssey, the ship continued to shudder under the Xenos' unrelenting assault. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls, and the sound of explosions echoed through the halls. Lena burst into the cryogenic bay, her heart pounding in her chest. The sight that greeted her was one of chaos and desperation. Dr. Alara Voss and her medical team worked frantically to stabilize the malfunctioning life support systems, their faces etched with fear and determination. "Captain!" Dr. Voss called out, her voice strained. "We're losing them. The cascade failure is spreading faster than we can contain it." Lena rushed to the nearest console, her fingers flying across the screen as she assessed the situation. The cryogenic pods were failing one by one, their occupants' vital signs plummeting dangerously. "AIDA, divert all available power to the cryogenic bay," Lena ordered, her voice steady despite the panic rising in her chest. "We need to buy them more time." "Acknowledged, Captain," AIDA replied, her synthetic voice calm and efficient. "Diverting power now." The lights in the cryogenic bay dimmed as the ship's AI redirected the energy flow. The life support system stabilized momentarily, but Lena knew it was only a temporary reprieve. Dr. Voss approached Lena, her face grim. "Captain, we can't save them all. The damage is too extensive." Lena's heart sank. She knew the doctor was right, but the thought of losing even a single life was unbearable. These were the last remnants of humanity, the ones she had sworn to protect. "How many can we save?" Lena asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Voss hesitated, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Maybe half, if we're lucky." Lena closed her eyes, the weight of the decision crushing her. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. "Do it," she said, her voice firm. "Save as many as you can. I'll deal with the consequences later." Dr. Voss nodded, her face set with determination. She turned to her team, barking orders as they set to work, prioritizing the pods with the highest chances of survival. Lena watched as the medical team raced against time, their movements precise and urgent. The ship continued to shake, reminding her of the battle raging outside. She knew she had to return to the bridge, to lead her crew in their desperate fight for survival. "AIDA, keep me updated on the cryogenic bay's status," Lena commanded as she turned to leave. "Understood, Captain," AIDA responded. "And Captain, good luck." Lena nodded, a grim smile tugging at the corners of her lips. She would need more than luck to get through this. but she appreciated the sentiment nonetheless. As she raced back to the bridge, Lena's mind was filled with the faces of those she had just condemned to death. It was a decision no captain ever wanted to make, but she knew it was necessary. The survival of the human race depended on the Odyssey, and she would do whatever it took to ensure their future. On the bridge, Marcus Reeves greeted her with a tense nod. "Captain, the Xenos are regrouping. I think they are preparing for another attack." Lena's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. The Xenos ships were indeed maneuvering into formation, their intentions clear. "Then let's give them a fight they won't forget," Lena declared, her voice filled with determination. "Charge the ion cannons and prepare for evasive maneuvers. We may be outgunned, but we're not going down without a fight." As the crew sprang into action, Lena took her place at the command console, her gaze fixed on the screen. The price of survival was high, but she was ready to pay it. For the sake of humanity, for the sake of the future, she would fight until her last breath. The Odyssey surged forward, its ion cannons blazing, as it met the Xenos' onslaught head-on. In the face of overwhelming odds, Captain Lena Sorensen and her crew stood tall, a beacon of hope in the darkness of space. They would not yield, they would not falter, for they carried with them the echoes of Earth and the dreams of a future yet to be written. Chapter 5. A Glimmer of Hope. The Odyssey shuddered as the Xenos' energy beam slammed into its shields, the force of the impact sending vibrations through the ship's hull. Captain Lena Sorensen gripped the command console, her knuckles turning white as she fought to maintain her balance. "Shields at 40%!" Marcus Reeves shouted over the din of battle. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Lena gritted her teeth, her mind racing as she searched for a solution. The Xenos ships were too numerous, their weapons too powerful. The Odyssey was outmatched in every way, and yet she refused to give up. "AIDA, analyze their attack patterns," Lena commanded. "Find me a weakness, anything we can exploit." "Analyzing now, Captain," AIDA responded, her voice calm despite the chaos around them. The bridge crew worked frantically, their faces etched with determination as they fought to keep the ship alive. The ion cannons fired relentlessly, their bright beams cutting through the darkness of space, but it wasn't enough. "Captain, I've detected a small gap in their formation," AIDA reported, her voice tinged with excitement. "It appears to be a blind spot in their sensor coverage." Lena's eyes widened, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. "Can we use it to our advantage?" "Possibly," AIDA replied. "If we can maneuver the Odyssey into that gap, we might be able to catch them off guard and deal a significant blow." Lena turned to her helmsman, a young man named Kai Ree. "Kai, plot a course for that gap. We're going in." Kai nodded, his fingers flying across the console as he input the new coordinates. The Odyssey banked sharply, its engines flaring as it surged towards the opening in the Xenos formation. The bridge fell silent, the only sound the hum of the ship's systems and the distant echoes of the battle raging outside. Lena's heart pounded in her chest as she watched the tactical display, the Odyssey's icon inching closer and closer to the gap. "Almost there," Kai murmured, his voice tight with concentration. Suddenly the ship lurched violently, throwing the crew from their seats. Alarms blared, and the lights flickered, casting the bridge in an eerie red glow. "Report!" Lena shouted, pulling herself back to her feet. "We've been hit," Marcus replied, his voice strained. "One of the Xenos' ships broke formation and intercepted us. Shields are down to 15%. Lena's heart sank, the glimmer of hope fading as quickly as it had appeared. They were so close, and yet it seemed that fate had other plans. "Captain, I'm picking up a strange energy reading from the Xenos' ship that hit us," AIDA reported, her voice filled with curiosity. "It's unlike anything I've seen before." Lena frowned, her mind racing. "Can you identify it?" "Not with certainty," AIDA replied. But it appears to be some sort of bioorganic signature. It's almost as if… AIDA's voice trailed off, and Lena felt a chill run down her spine. As if what, AIDA? As if the ship itself is alive. The bridge fell silent, the crew exchanging glances of disbelief and horror. The idea of a living ship was beyond anything they had ever encountered, and the implications were terrifying. "Captain, what do we do?" Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lena took a deep breath, her mind whirling with possibilities. If the Xenos' ships were truly alive, then perhaps there was a way to communicate with them, to find a peaceful resolution to this conflict. "AIDA, open a channel to that ship," Lena ordered, her voice steady despite the fear and uncertainty coursing through her veins. "Channel open, Captain," AIDA replied, her voice tinged with apprehension. Lena stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the view screen. The Xenos' ship loomed before them, its surface pulsing with an eerie organic light. "This is Captain Lena Sorensen of the Odyssey," she began, her voice calm and clear. "We come in peace, seeking to understand and to find a way to coexist. Please, respond." The bridge fell silent, the crew holding their breath as they waited for a response. Seconds stretched into minutes, and Lena felt her heart sink. Perhaps she had been wrong, perhaps there was no way to reason with these beings. And then the view screen flickered, and a strange alien face appeared. Its features were unlike anything Lena had ever seen, a mix of organic and mechanical components that defied description. "We are the Xenos," the being said, its voice a low, rumbling growl. "We have heard your plea, Captain Lena Sorensen. Perhaps there is a way to end this conflict, to find a path forward for both our species." Lena felt a surge of hope, a glimmer of light in the darkness. It was a small step, but it was a beginning, a chance for humanity to find its place in the universe, to forge a new future among the stars. As the Odyssey and the Xenos' ship hung in the void of space, two worlds, two species, on the brink of a new understanding, Lena knew that the path ahead would be long and difficult. But for the first time since the fall of Earth, she dared to dream of a future where humanity could thrive once more, where the echoes of their lost world would be heard across the galaxy, a testament to their resilience and their unbreakable spirit. Chapter 6. A New Dawn. The view screen flickered, the alien face of the Xenos being replaced by a swirling vortex of light and color. Captain Lena Sorensen leaned forward, her eyes wide with wonder as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. "What is this?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the Odyssey's engines. "It appears to be some sort of wormhole," AIDA replied, her voice tinged with awe. "The Xenos' ship is generating it somehow." Lena felt a thrill of excitement run through her veins. A wormhole could change everything, could open up new possibilities for exploration and discovery. But it could also be a trap, a way for the Xenos to lure them to their doom. "Captain, we're being hailed," Marcus Reeves reported, his voice tense. "It's the Xenos' ship." Lena took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. On screen. The alien face reappeared, its features twisted into what Lena could only assume was a smile. "Captain Lena Sorensen," it said, its voice a low rumble. "We invite you to join us on the other side of the wormhole. There is much to discuss." Lena hesitated, her mind racing with the possibilities. On the one hand, this could be the chance she had been waiting for, the opportunity to forge a new alliance and secure a future for humanity among the stars. On the other hand, it could be a trap, a way for the Xenos to lure them to their doom. "AIDA, what do you think?" Lena asked, turning to the AI for guidance. "The wormhole appears to be stable," AIDA replied, her voice calm and measured. "And the Xenos' ship is not showing any signs of hostility. I believe it is safe to proceed, Captain. Lena nodded, her decision made. Very well. Kai, take us through the wormhole. The Odyssey surged forward, its engines flaring as it approached the swirling vortex. Lena gripped the command console, her heart pounding in her chest as the ship was enveloped in a blinding light. For a moment, everything was chaos. The ship shuddered and shook, the view screen a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The Odyssey emerged on the other side of the wormhole, and Lena gasped at what she saw. Before them lay a vast expanse of space, dotted with stars and planets of every color and size, and in the center of it all, a massive space station, its surface gleaming in the light of a nearby sun. "Welcome to the Nexus," the Xenos' voice boomed over the comm. "This is where our species have gathered to forge a new future, one of peace and understanding." Lena felt a surge of hope, a glimmer of light in the darkness. The Nexus was a symbol of what was possible, a beacon of hope for all the species of the galaxy. As the Odyssey docked with the station, Lena knew that the path ahead would be long and difficult. There would be challenges and obstacles to overcome, old wounds to heal, and new alliances to forge. But for the first time since the fall of Earth, she dared to dream of a future where humanity could thrive once more, where the echoes of their lost world would be heard across the galaxy, a testament to their resilience and their unbreakable spirit. And as she stepped onto the Nexus, ready to begin the next chapter of their journey, Lena knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, united in their determination to build a better tomorrow for all the species of the galaxy.